That's a good call.
All right,
But
now we're live.
it doesn't come. Voice chat doesn't come across it, does it?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I haven't streamed with the Xbox One.
Yeah, I've just done
I don't know.
PC.
I just gotta figure that out. I have to. I gotta wire Donnie then.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh man, we had a fun week.
nice.
All right. So for anyone watching this later or right now, I'm dropping frames like crazy, and I don't care. We're in the middle of moving,
Frame rate
so
or
if this is a disaster, hey, look, both of my party members' Skype looks like shit. Yeah, this can be
You?
great.
Lagtacular.
ooh scratchy.
Yeah.
Waka waka.
Oh boy.
Oh, I should probably write down what I've been playing since it's all of 2 games.
Yeah, I got one game. One.
Mine was real
Only
close to
game.
being 1 game until yesterday.
Yeah. All right.
Instead of writing BF4, I wrote B4F. Uh,
Oh boy. All right. Let me know when you guys are ready to start.
I'm good to go.
Yep.
All right. Let's start. Let me turn on another light here. There, that's better.
Yep.
Ugh.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Going around the room, we got Knobs
Holla.
and the Hannah.
Hey.
We have a very special episode in store for you this week. Probably the first and probably not the last. My fiance and I are moving, literally, like right now. People are moving stuff as we speak. So I haven't had a chance to do show notes. So all of this will be happening completely live.
Ooh.
So
Yay.
who knows what we'll get.
F it. Let's do it live.
Exactly. So let's get
I'll pull up
started.
my RSS feeds.
Yeah. I got Feedly open in the background.
Oh, good. Me too.
All right, Knobs. What have you been playing?
Alrighty. Well, technically we did have Monday night game night. Since I'm not bowling anymore, I was able to be on a little bit early, so doing a little pregame battlefielding.
Nice.
And next thing I know, we were having way too much fun, and then it was like 11 o'clock. Like
Nice.
it was one of those nights where every one of us was in rare form. I don't think we stopped laughing the entire time. It was Donnie, Scott, aka Nintendork, and Tomsy, and myself. That's 4. There was a 5th in there. I can't remember who. Well, I'm sorry, I forgot. It might have been Duncan. Duncan's usually around with us, or maybe someone else. And Mystery Man number 5.
Yes.
Anyway, so it was like one of those weird moments where you just like one of those like favorite things that happens in games where you just lose track because everyone's just having fun. It's like, you know, your parents say you got to be home by 10, you end up rolling it at 2:30 in the morning type
Yeah.
of deal.
Yep.
It's hard. Man, it's fun to play that game with people, especially in your squad when you're all working in the same direction and being able to communicate and coordinate. And I think I had a big meltdown on a rooftop. I do know that. Where
That happened.
well, no, I kept going to the same rooftop, and every time I got up there, there was another helicopter. I got killed by 3 different helicopters, a total of 5 apiece. I was losing 15 out of my 20 deaths on that map were by Whirlybirds. Like I was enraged at this point. Then while the chatter's going on in the background, all of a sudden you hear Donnie just kind of muttering to himself. He's like, oh, coming up on you. Coming up, I got a surprise for you. Oh, what is it? It's my knife! And and we just lost it. I was like, all right, F it, we're having fun.
You can't be mad at that.
No, it was hilarious, and I know at one point I was on a headshot streak where I just started screaming, "I'm a lead farmer." Like it was one of those nights where just everyone was on. It's obviously some things we can't talk about on the show. Moon Pier, it was Moon. Moon made an appearance.
There you go.
That was it.
There you go.
That was it. So that was pretty much that, and pretty much had continued on through the rest of the week. I think we had played 2 or 3 more times this week for random sessions, and I finally unlocked all the sniper rifles in the basic tree. Now I'm working on my last one because I want to get the rangefinder on the scope so I don't have to deal with pulling up my binoculars and then switching to a gun and losing the guy. So I'm working on that. And I've officially maxed out one entire weapon.
Jeez.
Officially, there is nothing more I can do with this.
100%.
I have 1,500 kills with this gun.
Wow. That's a
And
lot
I'm
of kills.
scared to look at my hour ratio right now because I'm sure it's $120. Easily. Easily, it's
Nice.
120 hours I got in Battlefield right now. But I'm enjoying it, and it's one of those games that I just feel I should be playing other stuff, and yet I just keep going back for, like, it's almost masochistic at this point.
Yeah, but at least you're having fun.
Like, I am.
Yeah.
I've found a way to enjoy it, and I believe a lot of your enjoyment on that game is finding a weapon class that you like, and then once you start seeing the upgrades and the packs that you're getting start helping out your performance, then it becomes this little carrot on the stick race, and it's been quite enjoyable. I don't know why, but out of like the last couple times we played this week, I had some rough rounds where I just couldn't find, like, I'd spend 15 minutes, not really, like I'd spend 5. Maybe two and a half, let's call it. It seemed like a significant amount of time to get up, nestle in a little perch, get out my little rangefinder, and all of a sudden a Jeep runs me over. I'm like, oh my God, there's no way he could have known I was there. There's no way. But now I've mostly been rolling around with the really high-powered sniper rifles, and I'm playing those weird. Like, I'm not using a significant scope. I'm using an assault scope that's no more than ×4, and running around and mixing it up. But the only frustrating thing is one bullet, if I hit you in the chest, will take you down 94 health. Which means you'll kill me with 6 health left. And it's so aggravating. It's so aggravating. But it is kind of fun just to lock up, line up, pull, boom, headshot, run to the next guy. Whoop, boom. Like, I'm like no more than 20 yards away from the people. Like, I sit there, plant, stop, shoot, boom. I might as well be like pack up and like pack like the barrel with like an old musket loader at this point, the way I'm playing the game. But
Going musket style.
It's still fun. I don't know. Like it's like getting 2 or 3 kills in a row just pulls you right back into feeling good about that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like I just got a few messages on Xbox Live, and I'm like, guys, yeah, we totally missed game night tonight.
Whoops.
Yeah, oops. Like, it was just one of those things where I sent a message like, I'm sorry, we were just having way too much fun.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do.
We've all been there.
But I really can't technically call it a failure because we just played something different, but I don't know.
Yeah, just a little bit of a change of pace.
It was a little detour
A grand
in our
week.
in our game night. Anyway, why do I need to update Catalyst like right now, computer?
Do it.
Like
Just do
right
it.
now.
It'll go totally well.
Anyway, so I was sitting around Saturday morning. I was expecting to go golfing. I really couldn't find anybody to go golfing with, so it was kind of disappointing. So I'm sitting around my house. I'm like, what should I do? So I decided to go out on a little wild goose chase and find me a copy of The Darkness 2.
Okay.
Ooh.
This might have been my best Saturday decision in a while
Really?
because that game's amazing.
Nice.
It's
I played
just
a little
not
bit
like
of it
we
when it
enjoyed.
first came out.
We enjoy. I know I passed you on Raptor. Anyway, I got a notification on my email from it too.
Nice.
Apparently, I passed 17 other people. So I sat down and played it. It was one of those games where it was on my radar. I loved the demo, and it slipped through the cracks, and I never really got around to picking it up. It's not that I wasn't interested in it, or not that I don't like the source material.
Just never happened.
Yeah, it just never happened. So I went and picked it up and went through my whole normal GameStop stick. Do I want a power card or not? And it's like, no. No. Do I pre-order anything?
No, I'm buying the Darkness 2. I think I'm okay.
No, I'm here to buy this and this alone. Are you sure you're going to say... Dude, I'm real close to throwing a wad of cash in your face. So let's just get this done. Anyway, so I get home, unwrap it, or unsticker it, or whatever. And they change the stickers on there, and they're a pain to get off. I'm upset about it. They used to have those real nice ones where you just pull it just a little taut, and it goes kick, kick, and the whole thing pops off. Now the paper's cheaper.
Yeah, you gotta like roll it back and like very slowly peel it at like a really steep angle so you don't leave anything on there.
Oh. No, it's ridiculous. Like the other way, 'cause that's one of the things. Like I loved like ripping bones off of like CDs and DVDs, where you just get it just right and you grab it and go sheesh, and it comes off in nice one piece. And you're not picking remnants off.
Yeah.
I don't like little stickers and stuff all over my possessions.
All of your stuff.
But all over my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like little white goobers. So now I'm debating whether or not to throw that case away and just buy a new case because I'm just livid with it. It's not even necessary that they have to put the sticker on it. It's got that cellophane sleeve. You can leave the sticker part in the back and just slide it under. No one's going to know the difference. I mean, and it's not stuck to anything to ruin it. Ruins it, Jerry. Yeah. Ruins it. Anyway, Darkness 2. As much as we love the first one, this one is better in every way.
Really?
Not just a little bit, like way better. The gunplay's more fun. The darkness power is awesome.
I did love the way they set up the controls for that, and you could like pick up a steel rod and just chuck it through a guy.
Oh yeah, it's real difficult trying to get two. I haven't quite got that one yet, but.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's cooperative multiplayer for the Vendetta stuff, which I haven't checked out yet.
Nice.
So I'm real curious about that. But the story is what really drove this game for me.
Okay.
It sucked me in, and it got to one point where, oh man, I can't remember what was said. But it just was so crazy, and I'm like, all right, I'm all in at this point. And I know the point where I fell in love with the game was when I had a car barreling at me. I shot out its headlights, and as it's flipping over top of me, he just flips the bird and just goes over it like this. I'm like, all right, I absolutely love this game now. It was like the Cable moment in Deadpool where I'm like, this game could do no wrong at this point. And it didn't miss a step the entire game.
Very nice.
You know, because the game's, what, almost a year and a half old now?
So at least.
Oh, it's more than that. Yeah. Let's find out.
I don't want to talk any spoilers because I really think, Hannah, I think you'd love this game. Not only the few little bit of licensed music that's in it is so perfect for these scenes. Oh man. Anyway, but the story, the whole thing, it ends up really, like, the game ends really well, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I really hope they get a chance to make another one, because I never thought we were going to get this game.
Yeah.
And this one is so much better.
Who made that?
Yeah. Digital Extremes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
2K published it.
Okay.
That
So
came
it's
out
got a
February
shot.
7th, 2012.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a 2-year-old game.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing that really sets the tone in the world, and it was probably my biggest complaint of the first one, was, the monologues in between little chapters or sections seemed kind of wooden. That's fixed. The voice acting across the board was amazing, only to be outdone by Patton as the Darkness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where I don't know how a human being can do that to his voice.
He is a
And it's
special.
almost like, like both games, they barely filter his voice. The man is horrifying.
The only thing that I would imagine they do was just pump up the reverb in the bass side of it, like as he's like extend. Like, yeah, it's just too cool. It's too cool. Like, it's nightmare fuel in the best way. Like, that voice is just frightening. But the thing that I was not expecting to be really fun to get were the collectibles, the relics. Not only do they just look all wonky and they have some historical thing, but the lore in this game is deep. Deep enough to the point where I dusted this off just so you can see the thickness of this book. I'm going to read this because of this game.
What book
Like,
is it? Oh, The Darkness.
It's the Darkness. I don't know how to quite say that word.
Compendium.
Compendium. Thank you. The Compendium, Volume 1. 40 issues.
Jeez.
Plus more. But, I mean, that's an interrogation. I mean, that's a phone book. That should be Cleveland.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You could cause some damage with that book.
But the lore in the game is like, I've never experienced this in anything else. Usually it gives you like, okay, here's the item, this is what it is. Okay, so it technically has that, but I don't remember this character from the first game, Johnny, which helped Jackie control the darkness and suppress it somehow. Well, anyway, this guy narrates what he says the item is. It is, and Johnny is insane. Like, just bonkers. Like, the occult. He's the dude from the Frighteners. My body is a roadmap of pain guy. Like, just.
Oh, God. He's that guy?
Like, he's.
Nobody should be that guy.
Occult tweak. Like, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen or ever heard.
Yeah.
The way he narrates what these objects are. Like, one of them he picks up, he's like, dude, where'd you get that? Wait, for the love of everything, do not let it touch your skin. Like, and then he explains why you shouldn't let it. Like, it's like the one or whatever it's called, the Trinity blade. Like, if like it will take you and pin you into one spot, but if you stab yourself, no one can lift the knife off because only the person that stabbed you can lift it off. Hence the paradox of the knife and why you shouldn't have this in your home. But don't tell me why you have this in your house because it's your house. But just saying, like, it's the spastic explanations to what these items are a joy. Like, I found maybe 10 or 15, and I didn't stumble across the explanations of the relics until like the last quarter of the game, and now I'm going through it a second time to pick them all up because they're fascinating. And I'm gonna, next time when I get them all, I'm gonna sit there and listen to every one right in a row because they're awesome.
Sounds fantastic.
But
I'm gonna have to reinstall this
between
game.
the look, the gameplay, the lore, the story, it's tens across the board for me.
Wow.
Like, I would have paid $60 and not been disappointed with this game.
Jeez.
Like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel guilty for picking it up for under 10. I really do.
It's okay. At least you played it.
Like, I did play it. I'm gonna play it when we get off here because I want to hear the rest of this magical stuff, like finding the box of Cain's ashes. Like it's
awesome.
awesome. It's just awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's a part in that game where I really question, and this hasn't happened in a long time in a game where it tries to mess with reality or your character's reality. It does it so effectively that, you know, and I see the game. I play a lot of games. Not I may be a hardcore, but it really had me guessing. I'm not exactly sure what's happening right now. Like it was presented that well to where I was like, oh my god, I don't know which side is the real side or not right now. Like it was super impressive, and the reveal to how it was perfect. It was perfect. I really enjoyed this game a lot.
Nice. By the way, solid Frighteners reference earlier.
Oh,
I love that movie.
I enjoy
Nobody knows about that movie.
No, I do enjoy that, but that is the most apt description of that guy that I could give.
And I could see it. It's perfect.
But it's fantastic. Like one guy, like he's got one eye that's like super small, like super dilated, and the other one's like poof, like all the way dilated.
Nice.
It's awesome, and the game was intense enough that I felt fibrillated through the entire experience. All right, but that's what I've been playing. How about you?
Well, I only played one game this week, and it was the current Game Club game, The Witcher, and I streamed a whole bunch of it to Twitch. I actually played around quite a bit with the open broadcast software, which if you're streaming from a PC, this is fantastic.
Yeah, that's what
I haven't had a single issue with it. I haven't had it fail or stop streaming or anything. I was even able to do some crazy stuff like overlay Twitch chat on top of, in the corner of the game and have it be transparent and just the text.
Wow.
Like it was pretty wild. I was very
that.
happy. Yeah, it's nice, man. But I played. Let's see. I think I finished chapter 2 finally. This was a long chapter of this game. It dragged on forever because the whole thing is supposed to be like an investigation into the leader of this group of bandits that did something to you in the first chapter. And you have to like go and question like 6 or 7 suspects. And I was just like, I just want to critical path this. I just want to get through this. So I just sort of followed. You work with this detective, who's clearly supposed to look like what Sherlock Holmes would look like in this world, and he's weird. And I figured out why. And it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to throw it out there. But it's just this chapter was too long for like a game that's like, oh, it's in chapters. Like, no, this is too much.
This is 4 chapters.
Yeah, it really it could have been like the first part of the investigation is a chapter. Like let me feel like I'm making some progress. Another thing I ran into while I was playing this sort of session, I finally got to chapter 3 in this session, which is fantastic. But the thing I ran into this time was just a lot of... I had to do a lot of side questing that I didn't want to do because I needed money to finish the main quests. Because I needed to like pay a blacksmith to make me something for the main quest, or I needed to pay somebody else off to do something that advanced the main quest, and there didn't seem to be a lot of ways to get around that stuff, which is kind of disappointing. But considering when the game was made and who made it, it's like I get it. I think this game could benefit from. Then again, every game could benefit from like that Deus Ex style of like, oh well, I can't do it this way, so I'm going to do it this way. Have a couple different ways to complete a couple, each quest. But this seems to be more restricted. Like, well, you're not going to be able to do that quest now because you don't have, 500 gold to give this dude. or you're going
not
to have to
everything
go.
can be Deus Ex.
No, it can't, but it should be.
I agree.
So I got to, let's see, where did I end up with this game? So I had to I went into this fight against a guy who I knew didn't do anything, but I couldn't figure out how within the confines of the game to prove he didn't do whatever, or he wasn't the leader of this bandit organization. So I just killed him. And I got attacked by like 40 dudes, which is way too many dudes in this game. Probably wasn't 40. It was probably like 20. But it was still a moment of like, oh, I'm not going to survive this, am I? And no, I didn't. I got killed like 2 or 3 times before I figured out that if I take out the main guy first and switch up to the group style fighting, I can just take everybody out with no problem. Great. So I do that. The other big thing that happened, there's this side quest that you have to do to wake up this golem, and then you have to
Why
fight
would you
it.
do that?
Because
Smack him.
who knows? There was
Isn't that like the worst thing in the? Isn't that the worst trope in video games? Is you have to wake up the thing you have to fight? Why can't I just walk around it?
Yeah.
Well, and I figure I actually just remembered why, because it had like the key to open up this thing we had as part of the main mission. So it was like, okay, well, I gotta fight this
call
thing
in
now.
the dozers. Let's break this thing up and just pick it up.
Yeah, let's just break it open. Come on, guys. This boss fight was really, really unique, and I had forgotten about it because I've played this boss fight before. You wake this guy up, and my first instinct was, oh, well, I'm just going to hit him with my sword, obviously. Well, that's not doing much damage. That's like doing 2 to 5 damage per swing. So I'm going to hit him with some magic, and that's doing like 10, 15 damage, and he's clearly got a lot of HP. And then I realize, oh, there's these 3 pylons in like a triangle. And I remember talking to an NPC saying something like, yeah, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time activating those pylons, it can really do some damage. Or like something like equally as transparent. So it was pretty clear that I had to. So what you have to do in this fight is you have to activate 2 and attract this golem, like get him coming towards you so that he goes through the center of this like triangle, and then activate the 3rd pylon so it hits him with lightning and does a buttload of damage. The problem with this is if you are in the wrong spot, the lightning hits you and you die.
It seems like an unfair trade.
It's really not a great trade because it happened at least 3 times.
It seems about par for the course for that game, though.
Yeah, no, it seems to love just frustrating the person playing it. And the best part was I forgot I was in an open world area and I hadn't been going in and out of buildings, which is the only time it saves automatically is if you're going between areas or going in and out of buildings. So the first time I died, I was like probably 10, 15 minutes back from where I was and had to go do a bunch of stuff again. And just the minute I got to this thing, I was like, okay, quick save. And like I've been hitting the quick save button as often as I can now to make sure that I don't do that again. I keep forgetting how old this game is. Like it's at that cusp of like, yeah, saving's still kind of an issue with these open world games. We don't know how to do it. We don't checkpoint like every 5 minutes or something. So I fight this golem, and I there's 2 or 3 times I got him hit with lightning at least twice. And then I would get the 3rd time and I would manage to kill myself because I'd click on the pylon in the wrong spot, and Geralt would just go around to the other side of it and then activate it. Instead of, staying where I put him and activating it from there. That seems to be a common problem with like any sort of interaction in this game is if you click on expect, it would just, oh, okay, open me up there. Due to some of the, I don't know exactly what it's due to, but I know there's a click to move functionality in this game. I'm using a completely different like camera angle, so I don't deal with that. But I think there's something crossing there, and when I click, it moves and then activates the thing, which is pretty frustrating. But I did finally beat the golem, and then I looted it, and then I forgot to save again, and I died. So I had to fight it again.
It's a good name for a band. You should write that down. Beat the Golem.
Yeah.
Beat the golem. Well, and the best part was I was like really frustrated. I was like, I'm gonna have to fight this again. One try, no problem. Just boom, boom, boom. Got him through.
Video
Took
games.
me like 2 minutes on the first time. Yeah. Man, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm sort of slogging through this game. I hope Chapter 3 is better, because Chapter 2 was not great. It was okay. I mean, I get why people like it. Still, I'm still sort of like, okay, I can understand enjoying this. If you really have a lot of time to sit down and do all the side quests and, exonerate, X amount of people from being suspects in this case that you're working on throughout all of Chapter 2, I can see it being really fun. I just don't have that kind of time. I played maybe 6 hours of this week, and I just don't have enough time to sit down and play like a really long, thought out RPG like this, and it's disappointing. I would love to really dig deep into this game, but just practice I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's man, that's all I've been playing this week.
I played a couple of small games, but nothing I'm going to talk about yet because I only put maybe 10 minutes into each one of them. Stuff like Wayward Souls on iOS, Child of Light on PS4, just stuff I haven't put enough time into to really have an opinion.
Yeah.
Other than playing the game of, hey, let's move into our new house because the one we live in sucks.
Yay, real life Tetris.
Yeah, yay. The only thing I've been playing is Diablo 3. A bunch of us at work are formed this ragtag guild. Almost all of us are demon hunters. So that has been kind of fun, marching our way through Torment and getting geared up and doing all that. And I looked at I found the time played for this character on my account this past week, and it was 90 something hours. So combined with original Diablo 3 and Reaper Souls, I have continually played a game that popular consensus was that it's really bad.
Yeah.
And, thankfully,
I remember
they
that.
fixed a lot of stuff with the Reaper of Souls, but man, that game is just
That's
still
good.
really good. That's there's nothing really wrong with it. So kudos to
Nice.
them for making what I thought a good game was even better. And
Yeah,
really,
I'm seriously looking forward to the PS4 version. Like, I can't wait.
yeah, I think that's gonna kind of be the version to have, especially with the social stuff that they're gonna add above and beyond the PC version. And I hope that they bring the ladders from the PC version in there that they're supposed to put in soon. But I don't know if they've
Okay.
talked about that at all.
Yeah, I don't. What are the ladders?
So ladders are interesting. I never did them in Diablo 2, but they're apparently just bringing them straight over. So each ladder is a season, and it's a set length of time. What it'll do is, how your normal and your hardcore characters are separated? Like, they don't share stash
Yeah.
or gold or anything like that. Your ladder character will be separated as well.
Oh, nice.
And you start from level 1, whichever character you want, and then in that ladder there'll be special loot that you can't get outside of that ladder.
Oh,
And there's
okay.
some ranking based on, I don't really know what yet. I'm assuming Paragon level. And then at the end of the ladder, once the ladder closes, that character and its loot gets merged into your main account. So you just kind of, your character
wow.
just kind of appears alongside the rest of the ones.
So, to put it in terms a giant programming dork like me would understand, it's a branch of the code.
Yeah, you're
And then
basically
you play
forking
through it,
Diablo 3.
and then it gets... yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're forking it and then merging it, and God forbid there be merge conflicts.
Yeah, hopefully that won't happen. But yeah,
Nobody wants merge
I
conflicts.
am still enjoying the hell out of Diablo 3 and still playing probably more of it than I should, especially with the bounties and the rifts and everything. I can kind of hop in there for half an hour after work to decompress, play a little bit, and then just kind of bow out. And I've made progress. I've gotten loot. I've done stuff, even though I don't have a lot of time. So that to me is pretty valuable for this craziness that I have going on.
Very cool.
So hopefully next week I'll have some more to talk about some of the other stuff, depending on how quickly we can hook up my TV in the new house. But that's all I have, so let's take a break.
Sweet.
Question for you guys.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask it before we went live. Do you guys have time on Thursday to record next weekend's episode? Because I'll be out of town that weekend.
I should be okay for Thursday, yeah. I'll double check with my wife, make sure we don't got anything going on, but I don't think we do.
About 7 o'clock your time? Would that work? A little bit later?
Yeah, that should be fine. 7's fine. I mean, I get home from work at like 6, so.
Okay. Knobs, that work?
Let me check my planner.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, if you need to do earlier, like later, based on like his plan, like I could probably start at like 8:30 at like the latest, obviously.
Okay.
But.
Yeah, I don't have work that day, so I can kind of start early-ish.
Nice, very nice. Yeah. So, open broadcast software. We got to talk about this because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's two things I've done for when I'm playing The Witcher. So like I windowed it so that I can kind of. I wanted to have better graphics on my stream, and trying to push like full, like 1080p on that for my machine because of the CPU isn't great.
Yeah.
So I just windowed it, put it like 1680, pumped up the graphics. But there's a Chrome plugin for Twitch.tv that lets you do a bunch of stuff, and one of them is make the chat window a single color, so you can it'll let you do like alpha masking.
Wow!
And so you can just pick a sub region of the window, make it transparent, and it'll just show up, and it's awesome. And Jay-Z helped me out a bunch because he was the only one watching my stream. He's like, hey, you should move this here and do that and that.
Nice.
But it looks pretty solid. I'll have to find a good snippet of one of the videos I did.
Yeah.
And show you.
That's Thursday the 15th, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
At 7 p.m.?
Yeah. Thereabouts.
Alright. You're in.
Alright, I'll let me move it around on the Google Calendar here before I forget.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm this guy.
I've got a huge...
Yeah.
I have a day-by-day one at work that I use.
Oh,
that's
man.
invaluable.
I
that one
use
is
digital.
I did, but then it didn't sync with certain accounts that I'm always looking at, and I'm like, you know what?
Okay.
I'm just gonna go analog.
Yep, that's all I do. I use my one in Outlook and everything, but especially for to-do lists, I was trying so many things to try and get something to work. And the thing that worked was a pad and a pen.
Yeah.
Writing it down always seems to remember it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do that for like individual tasks. I'll like physically write out a list of things I have to do. Like if there's one thing I have to do and there's a bunch of components to it.
Mm-hmm.
But for like full tasks, I actually use Remember the Milk.
Yeah, I tried using that. It just didn't click with me.
It's good because it keeps all my stuff in one place.
Yeah.
Like if I need to on my way home, like actually pick up milk or eggs or like groceries or whatever. If I need to do something outside of I can do work stuff and personal stuff in there.
See, my biggest thing that I had a
tagged
problem with is I kept losing stuff when it was digital because I couldn't transfer it from day to day. So I needed to go through the act of writing it down to be like, oh right, I just need 2 more minutes and then I can cross that one out. And then I think for me, too, I can say, all right, I have to do this thing on the 15th. Let me flip to that page, write this thing down, put a star next to it, and say, I have to do this thing on that day because it has a star next to it.
Yeah. I said, and I play with the reminder times and stuff on Google Calendar. I'll have something remind me a week in advance, 2 days before, 1 day before, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the Google, with the new phone, it pops up on this front face.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Like right at night, the snooze that I just kind of push it down, and then it's there. I mean, it comes up right there. So I might be using Google a little bit more, the Google Calendar a little bit more for that stuff.
Yeah.
But for day, I tried, I was using Firefox's or the Thunderbird plugin for their calendar, and I just couldn't remember to check it.
Yeah.
Or it was Sunbird or whatever it was. and I kept forgetting to check.
Yeah.
It got to the point where, you know what, I'm just going to write in what I did that day. So if someone has asked a question, well, listen, you want paid, so what did you do that day? There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's the problem I have with pen and paper. Like, I'll write something down, I'll lose the whole notebook. Like, I can't
That's the
be
thing.
trusted.
Like this, like I check this. Like I make sure, like, all right, phone, wallet, shoe, planner, boom, keys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I make sure all those things are in my pockets before I go.
Yep.
All right, you guys ready to start this next segment? I'll do
Yes,
releases.
yeah.
I have them pulled up here.
Let's stop being old and do the show.
Yeah. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about releases.
What?
This bizarro world. All right, we got Soul Sacrifice Delta for the PlayStation Vita. It's another Soul Sacrifice. It seems like we've had about 3 of them in the last 12 months. So,
Yeah.
who knows? Borderlands 2 Standalone comes out for the Vita, along with PSN. Early reports from the people that bought the bundle is this is actually pretty good. Good frame rate.
Yeah.
Looks good on the screen. Screenshots look real bad. Don't forget, if you're interested in buying it, it's only 2-player multiplayer. It is not 4. They could not fit all of that goodness in memory. So,
It is a
Dynasty.
handheld. Should be happy with 2.
Yeah, I mean, they kept multiplayer in there, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition comes out on the PC, so if you like that, it's a really good looking version of it. And it's
Sweet.
the 8th one. Serious Sam 3 BFE comes out on the PlayStation Network for PS3. That is... is that the side scroller?
How'd that?
Maybe?
No. How did that not come out already?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll pull it up, but Giant Bomb's having some problems here. Super Time Force, Cappy Games' new game, comes out on Xbox One and Xbox 360. Both of those are digital, so XBLA and then whatever they call it on Xbox One. Games, I think they call it.
Yeah.
So that game looks super crazy. If you're interested in that, watch a trailer because it's really hard to explain, but looks like it's a pretty great time.
Nice.
Battle Block Theater finally comes to PC and Linux this week.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Was that like a timed exclusive?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Makes sense.
Ninjas,
Yeah.
gnomes, solar flares. I don't know.
Wow. Sunshine.
Something comes out on the Wii U called Scram Kitty and His Buddy on Rails. So I just wanted to read out that title because that sounds okay.
That's not okay. That's weird.
Mega Man 4, the Game Boy version, comes out on the 3DS eShop this week. If no one has ever played that game is really, really good. Mega Man 3, 4, and 5 for the Game Boy were great. 1 and 2 were fine, but they pretty much captured that game, including some extra bits on the Game Boy. It's pretty impressive.
Nice.
And the last game, Minecraft: PlayStation 3 Edition retail release, comes out on the PlayStation 3.
What?
Yeah. So
Does it have to be that? Does that it really have to be that extrapolated? All right, Minecraft PS3. Okay.
yeah, Minecraft 3 PlayStation 3 Edition comes out on the PlayStation
Yeah.
3. So if you have not downloaded that on the PS3 at this point, I guess now you can buy it in stores because
For some reason,
that doesn't sound
'cause
like a
you're-
nightmare.
So
Because it's
is every
2005.
voxel logoed at this point?
Maybe Sony Vio voxels. All right, let's move on.
Don't
to,
give them ideas.
Let's move on to news stories here. I don't know what came out in 2004. Let's just laugh and be like, "Oh, those games were terrible."
Oh,
Oh,
Or,
We're
oh
probably
man,
just
that
some-
game was awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
sure we missed something important.
probably.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Speaking of old games, let's talk about Amplitude 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I like Amplitude. All three of us
No.
do.
Really? We're not fans, are we?
Harmonix has opened a Kickstarter to make another Amplitude, and holy crap, does it look hot! Screenshots, art they have looks great. Looks
Yeah.
great.
I hope it
Let's-
comes out for the PlayStation 2.
well, PS3 and PS4, but that's another conversation. this Kickstarter really needs help. After about 6 days,
Great.
it's only raised $200,000 out of its $750,000 it needs. So if you want to see this game happen, please, please, please back this. I threw $200 at this thing, mostly so I could get a PS2 case for it and a vinyl record with the soundtrack. But there's a whole slew of cool stuff that comes with it, and they just added more stuff. They are really trying here, and if this doesn't get successfully funded via Kickstarter, this game doesn't happen.
So I was actually listening to. I've been trying to find gaming like news podcasts because I just don't have time to keep up with my RSS feed because it's out of control and I need to deal with it eventually.
Join the
But
club.
now's not the time. I was listening to IGN's podcast Beyond, and they were talking about this. They said, Sony basically greenlit this and said, well, if you can raise the money, and now for some reason there's a bunch of backlash that Harmonix is kickstarting something.
Okay, so this is really interesting. I think people have very short memories here. So Harmonix is not a very rich company, and by that I mean they don't have any money. I think the thing that people are remembering is the Viacom settlement where Viacom paid Harmonix $300 million, but what they don't remember is that they paid Harmonix shareholders $300 million for unpaid unpaid monies resulting in the Viacom MTV sale for Rock Band. So I think people are like, well, they have $300 million. Nobody wrote Harmonix a check for any money. It was just stakeholders.
Well, I think a lot of people are also forgetting that Harmonix doesn't own Guitar Hero anymore.
Right.
They sold that to Activision.
Yeah,
and Activision gave that to
15 years ago.
Neversoft, and Neversoft ruined it.
Yeah.
And released Guitar Hero Aerosmith, which I don't think I will ever get over.
Yeah, and I think people say, well, they're probably making a lot of money in Rock Band. Well, if you look at how record labels make money through licensing. So they're not making any money. So they're being honest, and they're saying, look, we need $775,000. That's everybody's share.
That's it.
And then we put in $1 million if it gets successfully funded. And then for $2 million, we make the game. And they say if there are any additional money that they raise through Kickstarter, then they'll put that into licensing music. Because as of right now, the music that they're using is the music they develop as Harmonix, which people are like, oh, I can't believe. Go back to Frequency. 3/4 of that soundtrack was DJ HMX, which is Cass and Crooker at Harmonix. So nothing really changes.
Not a problem.
I feel like there's been this is coming from a guy who is biased. I love Frequency and Amplitude. I love Rock Band, and they haven't made a bad thing that hasn't been Rock Band Blitz. So I'm obviously partial, and I get really upset when people are like, yeah, I really want this game to happen, but I'm not going to give them my money. And it's like, well, then the game doesn't happen. If you're not going to do your homework. And the great thing, John Drake at Harmonix has been out front this thing saying, like, look, we can't put it on PC because Sony owns the IP. So we have to put it on PS3 and PS4. Maybe we can do it on Vita, but you have to fund it first.
Oh, don't say that out loud.
Yeah,
they'll hear
that's
you.
going to be pretty hard.
And then they won't do it.
And they're saying, like, well, you want licensed music in there? You have to fund it first. And then we can look at doing all that stuff. And then I'm just really... I'm really frustrated that so many people are saying, like, well, of course it's not going to succeed because Frequency and Amplitude didn't do well. Both of those games were rated over 85 on Metacritic throughout its release, which I hate using Metacritic, but it's all we have for kind of back then. It's just nobody bought them. So, of course, Sony's not going to fund another one because no one bought the first two.
Except for us.
4 copies,
Yeah, the 3 copies that we bought.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is another instance of gamers not understanding the business side of the gaming industry. is that
Yeah.
no one's going to pay for this, and Harmonix doesn't have the money, which they're coming out and being honest about and saying, like, if we want to make this game too, but we don't have the money to make it happen, so you have to throw your cash at it. So,
And I think my biggest kicker on this is I think a lot of people still see Kickstarter as like, oh, well, what if the game doesn't happen? What if it doesn't, what if it gets funded and it somehow doesn't get made? It's like, it's Harmonix.
yeah.
You do understand these guys made Guitar Hero and kept consistently creating content and sequels for it for a good 3 years there before
quality stuff, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't
And
two
just-
dudes in a garage, which surely
They're gonna
no
disappear
hate to those people because those guys made FTL. That was an early Kickstarter success. But
Absolutely.
when you look at a company like Harmonix, who has continued to put out quality products since Frequency, they're not going to take your money and run. That's really not how Kickstarter works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I just think they might
Funded.
be they might be getting in that Kickstarter fatigue window too as well.
yeah. Well, and I
mean-
think they've had a hard time on their page explaining why they need so much money, because it legitimately is a lot of money for a game that on its surface seems easy to do. Using an engine they already have, they're good at chart tracking already. So, but I think the misunderstanding is games aren't free. Like these people need salaries. You need people to make all this stuff, and $775,000 is a pretty good amount of money. But I think Harmonix needed to get out front of it and get more updates pretty early. I think they've been a little slow on the updates on the Kickstarter page. But man, if anything, throw some money for me. Throw $20 at it.
Yeah.
We really need
Yeah.
to see another one of these happen. And you know what? If it doesn't happen, I can't even be mad. Because then at that point, the market has spoken and said, you know what? We don't need one of those.
And the market's wrong, but
But I can at least respect it, and they can say, Harmonix went out. Hopefully, they've learned some lessons about how to do a Kickstarter project, and then maybe in 10 more years we can try and do Amplitude 2.
yeah.
Yep.
So
And I think they're going Kickstarter route because this game does have a rabid fan base, but I think they wanted to. Yeah, I think they wanted to sort of tap and put it in their fan base's hands first, rather than going after like an angel investor or something as like a sign of respect.
well, and there's been some comments too on Twitter from Harmonix saying like, yeah, no one's going to fund this. So we asked, no one will. And you know what? Honestly,
Well, that's
for
disappointing.
$2 million, I don't blame these companies. The last two games didn't sell. I mean,
Yeah.
I think people think it's like Rock Band 3, where it sold millions of copies. That's not the case. I'd be surprised if it sold more than 2 million copies.
I wonder how much of that chunk of the pie really is going. Oh man, that's what coffee over myself. I mean, how much? How much really? I mean, this might just be that $70,000 might be going to strictly licensing music.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if anything, the record companies are the only ones really making out on games like this.
Or even just building the engine, putting it on, like, getting dev kits and stuff for the PS4. Like, there's so much cost here that it's tough.
And what kills me is like if Sony didn't own the IP, they wouldn't need to worry about licensing music. Look at games like Audio Surf,
Exactly.
Symphony. Just load your own music in,
Yeah.
and they write an algorithm that does it for you. And maybe they have some user created content that's really just their level designers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just called Amplitude on Kickstarter. Please go back it. I think that's, I think that's a wise investment. The very first tier is only $10. You get the game for $20 at this point, which is probably going to be how much it costs on those platforms. So, if you got $20 laying around, at least for these people on this show's free. Toss your $20 at Harmonix, maybe. All right, next news story here. Boy, let's talk about the future of Unreal Tournament, right, guys? So for anyone that hasn't seen, Epic Games came out to announce the new Unreal Tournament, which sort of tentatively called Unreal Tournament 2014.
Yep.
Open source, community developed,
Yes.
fully moddable, completely free.
Yes.
What?
I'm just going to let that land here for a second. If you're a developer
I was like,
and you want to work on Unreal Tournament 2014, get a license for the Unreal Engine 4, and you can start working on Unreal Tournament 14 pretty soon.
yeah.
And when they say free, so here's the thing: when they say free, they don't mean free to play; they mean $0 ever.
Yeah.
So totally, completely, 100% free. It sounds like the monetization scheme is there's going to be a store for mods relating to this game, and then mod developers can charge for their mods or like levels, packs, or whatever, and then of course Epic at that point would get a cut of that. Assuming it's the standard 30%.
Yeah.
So that's all the way crazy, but
That is super crazy.
I feel like Epic is one of those companies that could kind of push the industry a little bit by saying, yeah, this game is free, and that's not, we're just, you can just play it, and then we'll make our money some other way, but you guys can also help us make it. So I'm more than willing to follow them down this insane rabbit hole at this point.
Yeah.
But because that sounds great.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like my box copy of it.
Yeah.
Like it's, because to me, like the purest thing of Unreal Tournament is the ladder.
Yeah.
It's just battling up the ladder. I will do that to the end of time. I was doing it earlier this month where I just hop on, I want to pound through the ladder, then I'm done.
But I think Unreal Tournament 3 showed the industry that game is dead.
But it didn't have that.
Well, even
Unreal Tournament 3. Well, Unreal Tournament 3 was just a total sidestep. Like, I don't need a story or conviction why these teams are fighting each other. I don't care.
Yeah. Just
I want to beat up the blue guys or the red guys. It doesn't matter.
I think when you're Epic and you look at this and you look at the quick decline of Quake Live, I think you say, well, we can take Unreal Tournament and we can put it in a web browser. I'm sort of assuming here. And launch it from there.
I hope not. But...
And then I'm assuming it's going to be click this thing in this web browser. It installs Unreal Engine 4, and then you're just streaming maps and stuff. I think if you're Epic, you get a game that goes back to like the Quake 2 days, where you join a random server and then, hey, the map is changing. Okay, now I'm going to download this crazy map with this crazy mode. Oh look, everybody's huge, like we're giant monster sized, and this map is made by crazy people, and this is the best time I've had in probably the last 5 years.
Yeah, I do miss the mods.
And like, here's the thing, and for people that just don't get so deep into games that how they're coded, like I have way too often. So they're doing this free because they want to continue getting paid for licenses for Unreal Engine 4.
Absolutely.
This is the best marketing campaign they could possibly have for licensing Unreal Engine 4.
Yep.
It's a free game that runs on it, that's open source, that you can change and mod and do all sorts and learn the engine. And this is how they're trying to make sure they stay established as the industry standard engine.
Yeah, this is a real Trojan horse for them. Just saying like, yeah, come on, it's only a little bit of money you can get in UE4 and learn it. And then next thing you know, all these college kids, all these hobby programmers, they're looking to beat Unity. Let's be honest. This is their goal with 2014 is to say Unity has gotten too big. People don't need Unreal Engine. Let's give them a reason.
Yeah.
And you know what? Good on you. I
For sure.
I applaud your craziness.
Yeah, this is ingenious, and I'm just like the minute I heard it, it had to sink in for a little while. I was like, free? Wait, free?
Yeah, I was like,
Like
free to
free
play?
beer free? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's genius.
Yeah, it's a really good choice. I hope they don't screw it up, and I hope the community doesn't screw it up either.
Yeah.
All right, next news story here. Have you guys seen the Sunset Overdrive trailer?
I have not, unfortunately.
Okay, no. Now
I've heard
imagine
nothing but good.
A bright, sunny game with great graphics that combines Jet Set Radio and Dead Rising, and you have Sunset Overdrive.
I'm on board.
Yep.
Yeah, totally in.
This is one game that is making me very happy that I have an Xbox One. So anyone who's listening, please go watch the trailer. It looks insane. It's only like 4.5 minutes, but it goes through explaining like the factions, the world, the battle system, all that stuff. Super, super cool.
Nice.
All right, next one. Nintendo announced Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, which is remakes of Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Ruby. I usually wouldn't talk about these games because it's just another Pokemon remake.
Yeah.
But the internet went nuts about another Pokemon remake. And I don't really necessarily understand why. It seems like these two games were like held in the highest regard, like, it's these two. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think I might have a little insight on this because I have a younger brother. I have a brother who's about 10 years younger than me. And I came to Pokemon, first Game Boy, late 90s. This was his introduction to Pokemon. I think were these the first GBA games?
I was just wondering that because it almost sounds like it's the second wave. If you didn't get in with the original Game Boy and play those games, you got in on the second wave when the GBA games came out. And
I think these were those games.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which totally tracks because if you're born, depending on when you were born, like you completely missed Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket. Oh, you missed all of that. But then the Game Boy Advance came out.
So let's do this SAT thing. So, the Pokemon's Ruby and Sapphire are to Pokemon as Final Fantasy VII is to the Final Fantasy series.
There you go.
There we go.
I like that.
Now I got it. Okay. Double colons. Gotcha. All right. Well, let's move on to the next news story. Let's talk about Drive Club. So
that's still a thing.
I was ready to talk about this news story and just get super salty about this, but then thankfully Sony reversed this. So let's go in chronological order. So Sony a little bit ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, released, and it's whatever company is developing Drive Club. I don't remember their name. Released a trailer that says, "Hey, Drive Club is coming out October 7th." Hold on a second.
I wasn't sure that anyone else heard that.
She's okay. So they released a trailer that said, "Hey, Drive Club is coming out October 6th or 7th, 2014." Everyone's like, "Yeah, okay, cool. It looks so great." And there's been a little bit of drama lately surrounding the Drive Club PlayStation Plus edition. So there's been a bit of a messaging issue, let's say. There was, I think a lot of people were expecting the PlayStation Plus edition that we were promised when the PS4 came out to be the entire game. And they're saying, no, we never really said that. People are pulling quotes, whatever. What we're getting now is one country which contains like 6 or so tracks and 10 cars. And what Sony and the developers came out and said was, well, you can play that game, and you get that free for PlayStation Plus. But you can buy a la carte countries and tracks and cars. Mm-hmm. Sounds great. Or if you want to throw us $50, you get the whole game unlocked at once. Or you can go out and pay $60 for the Blu-ray. So you've got a bunch of different kind of options here. And then the developer released a trailer that explained. People were confused because it sounded like it was such a bad deal that it couldn't be true. But they kept saying, after you upgrade your PlayStation Plus edition of Drive Club to the $50 edition, if you were to let your PlayStation Plus membership lapse, you lose that entire game. So
Whoa.
it's still like one of those free games you download, except you've paid $50 for the possibility of losing it again. So, thankfully, after the internet exploded because that idea was really dumb, Sony has come out and said, okay, that's not the case anymore. If you spend the $50 to upgrade the PlayStation Plus edition to the full version, it just becomes the full version, and it's no longer tied to your PlayStation Plus membership. So, good call, Sony, because that was really stupid. Please don't do that.
Don't scare us like that again, Sony. We like you.
Yeah,
keep it that way.
Everyone was saying, well, either my options now are to go out and buy the $60 Blu-ray edition, or more likely, not buy this anymore because this is really stupid.
Yeah.
So, thank you for fixing that, everyone. I was going to talk a little bit about the Oculus VR and ZeniMax stuff, but the two of them won't stop shooting each other across this chasm. So
across this virtual bow.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're loading up forks and whatever they get their hands on to fire at each other now.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know who's calling who what name at this point. So, news brief on this one: they're still fighting. Who knows?
Yeah.
In even crazier news, the new Shaq Fu game got crowdfunded.
I can't
we can't
believe
get
that.
Amplitude crowdfunded.
Yeah, but you guys are more than happy to spend $450,000 to crowdfund Shaq Fu, a legend reborn.
I'm just sick.
Thank you, Internet.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Way to go.
But that's all we really have for news stories this week. It's kind of a weird week.
Yeah.
So let's move right on to tweets.
Hey.
Adderblack39 writes, hi guys. With the recent news that Sledgehammer was working on a third-person shooter set in Vietnam, what would that have played like? I thought that was a really interesting news story because someone was saying, I don't remember what the last Call of Duty game that Sledgehammer made, but allegedly when they got pulled in to work on the next Call of Duty game, they had to shelve this third-person shooter that was set in Vietnam. And that sounds like a really weird idea that I'm not sure would have worked.
Yeah. Didn't Battlefield do a Vietnam game at one point?
I think it was Battlefield Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that did very well either.
I thought COD Blops was Vietnam, wasn't it?
No, I think you're thinking of World at War.
Yeah.
That one where everyone's like, I feel really uncomfortable about everything this game is doing. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a weird. It's a strange war to try and capture in a game. There's a reason developers stuck with World War II for as long as they did.
Yeah, it's not
because
it's patriotic. I mean,
but it wasn't. But history portrays it that way. It's it's portrayed as the last. I'm not even a better word for it, the last just war.
Yeah.
When was the last time you played a game about Korea? No, because it was a police action. That wasn't a war, apparently. And Vietnam's an even weirder one. No one knew how to feel about it at the
You totally froze.
time, except for... Oh, hooray, I froze.
Yeah,
All right.
I think even the fact that we're having this conversation means that it's
Too soon.
It's just too sensitive. It's probably been enough time, but I think, how do you... it's a tough war to romanticize without making something that's really dark. And a game like that isn't going to sell. A game like that isn't going to sell Call of Duty numbers.
And like that's the thing is, like, you could have done it. Who was making was it 7 Days in Fallujah? Well, that was going to be released by Capcom. I would have played that because it's topical, and the way it sounded like it was going wasn't going to romanticize it at all. They were going to pull a Spec Ops The Line on you.
Yeah, totally. And I think what people forget about some of this stuff is, if you're going to make a Call of Duty game, you have to make Call of Duty numbers. If you're not selling like 4 million units day one, you're a failure of a Call of Duty game. And honestly, that's just the reality of that franchise at this point. So
Which is unfortunate.
if you're someone like Activision looking at Sledgehammer and saying, okay, either you can make this game that we know will sell about a bajillion units, or we're going to make this third-person shooter set in Vietnam. Like, what is that game even going to be? Like a cover-based shooter? Like, you're going to slide in cover in Vietnam? Like, I don't... What do you even make?
And it's not topical enough to be terribly controversial and boost the numbers that way. And the war wasn't, like, it's not... it's guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
You can make that interesting, but you have to...
But they couldn't even do that in World at War, so, like, how are you going to make it? It's just... It's not the game that people... Because people will be like, so multiplayer is third person? I don't want that. Because that's going to be their first question. So,
I just picture it just being something ridiculous. Like, you can't make a Vietnam game successful. I just don't see how that can be possible.
It's just a Gears of War reskin.
Well, yeah, if it's Gears reskin, you might as well be fighting jungle bugs. Like, I don't even know
you mean they didn't have active reload in Vietnam?
Yeah. Come on. Like, tap it on the third tap on your helmet, it's good to go.
Yeah, he misses, and it's just Marcus's voice. Oh, come on. And Adderblack sends another tweet here, which I think he mistyped a word here. It says, Dead Space was canceled. I so wanted this game. Have you guys ever looked forward to a game that was later canned? I wonder if he's talking about the news story from last year about Dead Space 4 not being canceled but not having anyone work on it. Have you guys ever looked forward to a game that was later canned? For me, the one that really jumps out is the second Full Throttle game.
Oh,
I think that could have been really interesting in a way that maybe I'm happy that they canceled it.
Yeah. I don't know about canceled, but I mean, I have looked forward to games that ended up being terrible, like Drake and the 99 Dragons.
I got my copy, by the way, in really great shape. It was $4.99.
And it was terrible, wasn't it?
Well, it looks... all right, here's the thing. I want to talk about Drake and the 99 Dragons here. It has... the thing that impressed me so much... This is an original Xbox game. The thing that impressed me so much is the cover. If anyone goes to look at it on like Google Images... the cover has this really cool style, like this 90s image comics style. What's really impressive, it has this monstrous instruction manual in it that's full color, and everything in it is in that same style. So it's almost like the Metal Gear Solid 2 comic that was in there, where it's like, here's how to play the game. You now have a sword. The whole thing was put together like that. I was like, that's really pretty impressive. Like, all right, small company, you did a good job.
And then you played it?
No, I won't play that. I'm just... So the things that I love... So the things that I love in my collection, which, by the way, I just passed 800 physical games in my collection.
Wow.
Is I want the best games, and I want the worst games. I don't want those games in the middle. I want the games that are like 10 out of 10, and then I want the games that are 2 out of 10. Because I want to say, like... one of the games I just bought was Pac-Man on the 2600. Universally recognized as the very worst version of Pac-Man that's
ever
so different and nearly incomplete that I have to have it. Because it has a cool story associated with it in that it's the worst. And that goes next to my copy of Guilty Gear Suka. There's this like dark corner of my collection where it's like, oh, those games.
You're gonna have one bookshelf labeled The Abyss.
Yep. Yeah, and it's
By the
just
way,
going to
Guilty
be
Gear Asuka is another answer to this question.
yeah, and it's just going to be
Oh man, I
games
wish
that are
that got
just
canceled.
bad. Like they're just not great games, but they're memorable for that fact, or they're memorable because
Yeah.
they're a game that was so anticipated and just fell so flat. You know, like the second Deus Ex game. That'd be a perfect one for the Abyss, where it's just like,
Yeah.
man, we got another day. What is this thing?
Well, take a look at whatchamacallit, at Duke, the game
man.
the game they broke down and kept rehashing it over and over again. When the one that they didn't feel was good enough probably was better than everyone thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I thank you for reminding me. I need to write that down. I need to get a copy of that. That deserves a spotlight on its own. Where it's like,
Yeah,
sit down,
I would
kids,
like to play it.
Let Papa Boston tell you a story about a disaster, about a national tragedy. Dimebag 315 in chat actually brings up a good point. Bulletstorm 2. That was a game I was very much looking forward to, but I kind of understand why it got canceled. No one was going to buy that game. They need to spend that time making more Infinity Blade, because that game makes bajillions of dollars, guaranteed.
Are you thinking of Shadow Protocol? Or not Shadow Protocol.
Shadow Complex.
Shadow Complex.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, what? Oh, it was People Can
Bulletstorm.
Fly. Yeah.
Yes.
Man, what are they making now? Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
After Gears of War Judgment.
Oof. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know what? I had to look up because I was like, has there ever been a game that I was disappointed that was canceled? This was something I heard in passing years ago. They were going to make a game based on the comic 100 Bullets.
Oh. Huh.
Have you heard?
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
How cool would that have been? That would have been super crazy, and I don't think it would have been
How
good.
long ago was that?
That was probably years ago.
It was planned to release for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox in October 2004.
I think that would play well in the audience now.
I think so too.
Nowadays, probably, but 10 years ago, I don't.
No, 10 years ago that would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been awful.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
I would say probably the game I was looking forward to most was one of the early forays in the episodic gaming, and I think Boston knows where this is going, is Sin 2 Emergence.
Yep.
Yep.
I am a huge fan of that first Sin game. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, you want to talk about
amazing.
a game that has a history?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
And no one played that game.
Yeah.
Like, no one. And then when they announced we're going to do Sin 2, I mean, and Sin had this weird lore to it and had an anime that was completely irrelevant to anything that happens. They killed the main character in the first 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Emergence comes out, and it references things that happen in this anime. I was like, all right, I'm on board. It's supposed to be 7 episodes. I'm cool. $20 an episode, no problem. I don't care if it's $140, but it's $20 a shot. I played the first one. It was great, and then no more than 2 weeks after that first episode came out, they canned the rest of it.
Yep. So,
Brutal.
you know, if anybody is interested in the history of video games, Sin is actually a really, really interesting story, and I would highly recommend people going out and finding it. As a teaser, this game came out October 31st, 1998, and it was so broken that within a couple of weeks, a patch was released that was over 500 megs.
Which, when did this come out?
1998.
98.
Which was
Oh,
an
that's-
impossibility.
Yeah.
The
And
next
I
issue of
finished that
PC
game
Gamer
broken, too.
came with the patch on a CD.
Remember those days?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, Dimebag315 in chat says my one, Fez 2. I will
Yeah.
always have a silent running tear for the cancellation of Fez 2.
Absolutely.
All right, we have no more tweets and we have no emails. So that's our episode this week. You can visit us at tvgp.tv. Everything else is on the right-hand side of the page. I don't have much time left.
All right, don't forget to join the forums. Please mark yourselves on the map. Join us for Monday Night Game Night. It could be anything. Announcing something. It's
Grab
a potpourri. Show up on Monday. Send me a message. JKnob33 on the 360 or Xbox One, and we'll figure it out from there. But worst comes to worst, it's probably going to be Gears, unless we're having a lot of fun playing Battlefield, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday night game night, 10 p.m. EST on Steam group. But we will be recording next Thursday, so
Come watch us live in the background
And play.
on your other
Why not?
monitor while you're playing
And
the
play.
other stuff.
Yeah. Current TVGP Game Club game is The Witcher on PC. I'm streaming it on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/thehannah. It's interesting.
It's okay.
I guess that's a good word. Yeah,
It's a thing.
It's interesting. It's keeping my attention.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I don't hate it enough to quit.
There you go. And don't forget, you can watch this show live every weekend, twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. We record at 4 p.m. Pacific live for next week. So come join us. It'll be an interesting time. And
7 p.m. EST.
Yes. And we will see you all next week.
Laters.
Peace.
I have two titles. Someone in the chat recommended Death by Whirlybird.
Okay, yeah, I got that one. That's the first one I wrote down.
The other one is I May Be a Hardcore Gamer.
Nice. I have Death by Whirlybird. It's My Knife. I'm a lead farmer.
Oh, I wish I could recreated how well he said and just the way he said it to the point where he just erupted.
Unsticker It. Nightmare Fuel in the best way. Spastic Explanations. I play a lot of games. Real Life Tetris. Ragtag Guild. Forking Diablo 3. Screenshots look real bad. Ninjas. Gnomes. Solar flares. Sony Voxels. Don't have any money. I want to beat up the blue guys. Let's do this SAT style and let Papa Boston tell you about a tragedy.
I like Death by Whirlybird.
I'm a fan.
I think that one's really
Oh.
punchy.
I get killed by so many helicopters in that game.
Well, let's
Sony Voxels is pretty solid
let's
too.
do your memory right. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 342 for May 12th, 2014. Death by Whirlybird.
Stingers up!
From above.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching this live. Pup is in an hour. So I will see you back here with two other people down in this corner. But you same people over in chat over here. So, bye.